AJ, you know what time it is? We've got 5 minutes on the clock for another opt-in. Hopefully we don't have another 10-minute one like we did last time.
Hey, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I want to talk today about a webinar that we just released with Sean Adams over at Iorad, their head of sales and partnerships. You talked to him a lot about a number of things, but one of the main focuses was about sort of using your SDRs as an evangelist for your company, sort of doing more than just sort of that cut and dry call down a list sort of standard SDR stuff. So I want to leave it a little bit open, start there and see what you had as sort of maybe a main one or two takeaways that you thought were really valuable things you learned during the webinar.
For sure. And to pull the curtain back a little bit, yes, we did talk a lot about this idea of turning your SDR team into more of like a product or brand evangelist team. But the whole conversation started with this idea that we were going to cover the outbound to inbound motion and how SDRs can sort of like use the outbound go-to-market execution that they're doing on a day-to-day basis and operationalize some inbound traffic from that, which helps then in turn prioritize accounts, which helps marketing understand who they should send ads to, stuff like that. And for anyone out there who knows Sean in classic Sean fashion, he took that idea and just fleshed it out into this like multi-layered idea that SDRs should be doing more than just what we kind of classify as like traditional SDR, simply cold calling, cold emailing people, trying to generate interest. And one of the big takeaways that I got from the conversation about this idea of like turning your reps into more of an evangelist type role is the use of customer insight surveys and how that can impact what reps are saying to prospects. Because traditionally, when you look at an SDR, they're getting information fed to them by sales and marketing about product features, product benefits, the values, et cetera, et cetera. But it's all pretty baseless in most cases. It's just like, hey, we can do these things. Do you want us to help you do these things? But when Sean was talking about using customer insight surveys and actually talking to customers about why they purchased your software, what challenges they were facing, and how you helped them overcome them. Think about a case study, like taking one of those and fleshing it out into actual messaging. Your SDRs transcend beyond just like, hey, buy my thing, into we've helped companies just like you. Is this something that you also want us to help you with? It's very low friction in terms of the traditional sales cycle. You're not asking someone to hop on a meeting. It delivers value up front. It's relevant and actionable for someone to take a look at what you're saying and envision a future where they do that thing. And it sheds this like commission breath, sort of like, I need to book X number of meetings or I won't have a job anymore type persona from salespeople. And it paints them as more consultants rather than that traditional salesperson role. And I think that's the general shift that we're seeing a lot in the SDR role in general in SaaS, is becoming more of like a guide and a consultant than a salesperson. And Sean did a great job at like wrapping all of those ideas up into just run customer insight surveys, take that data, feed it back to your reps, and all of a sudden you're starting to see the shift in their responsibility from like, I'm here to book meetings to I'm here to help people because we've helped people like you. And I thought that was like a really big aha moment for me when I was talking to them.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think there's some important things going on that sort of having the data from that customer insight survey causes. And one of the things you guys did talk about during the webinar that I thought was really insightful was, excuse me, the sort of like, what are you doing between like you connect with someone, you're an SDR, you connect with someone, but they're not ready to buy, they're not in market yet, right? You put them in this nurture cycle, and we talk about this a lot. Like, how do you provide value while you're still nurturing prospects as an SDR who might be ready in 3 months, might be ready in 3 years, right? Depending on the sales cycle. And we talk a lot about like, make sure to send them content, make sure to send them relevant content. But what does that really mean? And I think without insights from your customers like that, there's no way to actually know. You can talk to product marketing, you can have some anecdotal, maybe feedback from your own outreach or your peers' outreach, but having the right data so that you can say for sure, like, hey, prospect, I know that this is going to be helpful for you, versus, Hey prospect, our marketing team just released this new white paper, thought you might be interested.
Yeah.
It feels like a subtle difference, but to the prospect reading that, it's the difference between like, you clearly just sent this to everyone and, oh wow, that is super relevant to my situation. Thank you so much. I'll give this a look. And once they are in market, that makes all the difference in the world. So I thought it was really cool that he touched on and had good ideas for how to build up these customer insight surveys, how to build up that knowledge base and that data so that when you do reach out to people in your pipeline as an SDR, you're reaching out with relevant information that they will actually find useful.
Yeah. I forget where I read it, so I can't unfortunately credit the person, but I remember seeing something recently where defining value has always been tough. I know we talked about it on a different on-demand with Grayson, where he broke value down into something that is relevant and actionable. And I think that's a good way of kind of looking at it, but it's going to kill me for not remembering who this is. But they said something along the lines of like, if what you're sending to your prospect doesn't immediately make an impact on their day-to-day, like make their day-to-day better, then it's not valuable. And I think that's like just a really easy rule of thumb for an SDR to consider when they're reaching out to someone, is if your marketing team has put together a white paper and they're like, hey, send this out to people, and you glance at the white paper and you're like, I don't understand how this would like help somebody. If you think that, then it's probably true. It probably will not help your prospect in any capacity. But there are pieces of content that you can create or your marketing team can create that can quite literally in any given day, help them do their job more efficiently, more effectively, overcome challenges, whatever it might be, shed some light on a problem that maybe they didn't know they had. And that is the stuff that you get from the customer insight surveys that you can then package up and send to your prospect and know, like, I know this is going to help you today. I know that I'm going to make a difference in how you're able to do your job effectively. That is value. And I think for a long time, people just didn't understand how to relay value or what value really means. I think we're getting closer and closer to really understanding like how an SDR doesn't usually have a lot of business acumen or industry knowledge, can paint themselves as enough of an expert to have that credibility and authority to say like, I can provide value to you. It's through these customer insight surveys that you're able to do that. So shameless plug, Sean actually did include a framework for their customer insight surveys they do at Iorad as part of his on-demand, which I included in the takeaway material. So if anyone out there is considering doing this or wants to tweak their system or wants to start it in any capacity, this is a great foundational building block to use.
All right, AJ, 15 seconds. Tell everybody about opt-in.
Opt-in, quick 5-ish minute videos, actionable sales development tips, minimal fluff. You can find us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on our Instagram, and on the website, demanddrive.com. I don't know what kids say these days.
Riz. I've been hearing Riz a lot.
Riz. Yeah, actually, I found out what Riz is.
Yeah, it's charisma.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah. You have no Riz. Did I